How do you know that? It took the whole night.
I don't know exactly, but I went to my room and she was still in pain. I could hear her, but then in the morning it was done.
Cameron Rogers, a 22-year-old resident of Ottawa, Canada, wound up in Montreal after killing his adoptive parents. He had killed them on the morning of November 20th, 2016, and tried to flee, but he failed to escape. He then called 911 to turn himself in and confess to his crimes. The very next morning after this call, on November 29th, around 6 a.m., he was brought in for questioning. At this point, detectives had very limited information available on the crime. After they received the call, local police were sent to the Carlton Heights neighborhood in Ottawa, where the body of Dave Rogers, 69, was found shut in a suitcase, and the body of his wife, Merrill Gleddie Rogers, 63, was found wrapped in a tarp.
What was going on right before you killed them?
I was chopping melon.
Sorry?
I was chopping melon.
Melon?
Yeah.
Okay. And where were your parents in relation to you at that point?
My mom was doing something else in the kitchen.
Okay.
And my dad was somewhere else in the house.
Okay. And then what happened?
Do I have to talk about this? I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about something else first?
I had to, I dragged my mom in a tarp.
Okay.
And then I put my dad in a suitcase.
Okay.
And then pulled him out.
Okay, and how'd you get him in a suitcase?
Well, I sort of rolled him into it.
How long did it take?
What do you mean?
Like before your mom, like how long did you...
Well, my dad didn't take very long, but my mom took a long time.
Okay.
And it was really hard because she was in pain and I wanted it to stop. And I couldn't make it stop. And I felt so bad because she was in pain and I wanted her not to be in pain, but I couldn't stop it. And it went for the whole night.
And what?
It took the whole night for her to die.
This case is also especially sensitive as Cameron is on the autism spectrum, and the case needs to be handled with the utmost sense and regard. What could have driven this innocent-looking man to kill his own parents? Let's start with the 911 call and find out what happened on that day.
That's 911.
Hello.
Hello.
I would like to confess to a murder.
Okay. Well, so where are you?
I actually, I'm on a street,
Mm-hmm.
in Montreal. I don't know where that street is.
Well, you need to know if you want me to send somebody.
Yeah, that's true, eh? I'm near a parking garage.
Okay, you need to be more specific. I need an address or intersection. And who did you kill?
My mom and dad.
Okay. Where do they live?
They live in Ottawa.
They live in Ottawa?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have an address?
1614 Appledorn. That's...
How do you spell the street name?
1614 and then APELDOORN.
Okay. Hey, what's your name?
My name is Cameron. Cameron Rogers.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
22.
Here's the street. Ontario and Savoie.
Okay. Are you gonna stay on the corner?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I will stay on
So
the
what
corner.
are you wearing? The clothing?
I'm wearing an orange, puffy coat and orange mitts with jeans.
Okay, I'll send somebody to go and talk to you and just see what's going on. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
After the cold-blooded murder of his own parents, Cameron stayed in the house for a week and then tried to escape Canada. It was not long before he realized that he would not be able to make it out of the country, so he took shelter in an under-construction building in Montreal. Soon, he realized that he would not be able to keep up with hiding out in the cold, so he called 911 and asked to be arrested to confess his crimes.
Hey, so how you doing?
Good.
Good, you're okay?
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember my name?
No.
You just met me for the first time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay. So my name's Teresa.
Okay.
I'm with the Ottawa Police, and I'm a police officer, and I work in the Major Crime Unit, all right? So I met you for the very first time today, right? Just a few minutes ago, you were in your cells. I was with another officer, and we escorted you here, and we told you to bring your blanket, because as you can tell, it's a little chilly in this room, right? Okay. These rooms are recorded. Okay, so since it's being recorded, I'm just going to indicate today's date and time. It's Tuesday, November 29th, and it's 6:30 in the morning. And your name is? Cameron Rogers?
Yes.
With an S, right?
Yes.
Right, okay, my name's Teresa Kelm. I'm a police officer. And just before we get going, it's my duty to make sure that you understand why you're here. Okay? Those are your rights. Okay? You have rights when you're under arrest. And so I want to make sure that you understand what your rights are, okay, to be fair to you. All right? So do you understand that you're under arrest right now? Okay. And what do you believe you're under arrest for?
Killing my parents.
Okay. So that's called, it's first degree murder. Okay? So when people are under arrest, they have rights, and it's my duty to explain them to you. So you have the right to retain and instruct counsel. Okay, so that means you can call any lawyer you wish, all right? If you don't have a lawyer, you can call legal aid.
Here, the reason that the interrogator seems to be asking some basic but absurd questions like, "Do you remember my name?" when she has never met Cameron, is because she's aware that Cameron is not the usual perpetrator. She knows that he's on the autism spectrum, which may indicate that he has limited mental capacities, and that his ability to understand basic things will be highly compromised. She's trying to understand the level of intellect she can expect during the interrogation. This style is especially used with people who have mental disorders.
The other thing I want to explain to you, and I've already explained this to you, is that the room's being recorded, right? And anything, you don't have to say anything to me. You don't have to answer any of my questions. But anything that you say to me, it's being recorded, and that can be used in court as evidence against you. Do you understand that? Okay, so you don't have to say anything to me, but if you do, we can use that in evidence against you at a trial. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, how have you been treated so far by the officers here?
Well, they're not mean, and they're not nice. I mean, they're just neutral.
Okay, all right.
Here, the detective uses a very soft tone and empathetic words in order to speak to Cameron. She employs an interviewing technique called the motivational interviewing style. In this style, the interviewer tries to motivate the interviewee to express their inner thoughts and motives, while ensuring that they're creating a non-hostile and non-judgmental environment. She's done an excellent job of establishing rapport with Cameron, which means that she's made him feel comfortable speaking around her almost instantly. The body language of Cameron shows a complete sense of calm, indicating that she's been able to achieve this through her rapport-building skills.
And are you in school? Or
I was in school.
Okay, what were you studying?
Electromechanical engineering electromechanical engineering robotics technician.
Wow. And how long have you been studying that?
I was in that for the first year this year, but I came out of another one for the past 2 years. I was in I was in mechanical engineering technology, but then I changed
Okay.
for this year into the first one I mentioned.
Good, good. And what were your plans? What did you want to do with that degree?
I didn't want that degree.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
So why were you taking it?
Because my parents told me to take it.
Oh, okay. And why were they so keen on you taking that?
Half of the problem was probably because I didn't say anything else. Like I didn't like. I mean, I didn't say another plan for
Okay.
the you know, like. I think. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
so you didn't have a plan, so therefore they gave you a plan?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because when I was in schooling, that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't have a plan, and my parents made me take these courses that I personally didn't enjoy. Were you enjoying your schooling? No. That must have been hard?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What year were you in?
So for the first 2 years, I was in second year, and then for this past year, I was in first year.
Okay, all right. And where were you studying?
Algonquin.
At Algonquin? Okay. And
Dave Rogers and his wife Merrill Gleddie Rogers got married in 1982 and adopted Cameron Rogers as a newborn in 1994. Everyone was aware of the mental challenges that Cameron faced, but Dave and Merrill did not openly speak about them and did their best to protect Cameron from the outside world. Cameron had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, that introduced more challenges in his daily life. Despite these challenges, they wanted him to be as independent as possible. After finishing high school, Cameron received admission to Algonquin College, Ottawa, and his parents enrolled him in electromechanical engineering. The true motive and justification for the murders were never brought to light. However, the detectives believe that the frustration that Cameron built up over the years about not being independent may have been the reason. Initially, Cameron says that he did not want to study the subject, but then he says that it's what his parents wanted. And finally, he says that he had nothing else to do, so he studied it. Both Dave and Merrill were high achievers, and the professional and academic successes of parents can be a very stressful occurrence for individuals with autism. Forcing him into a course that he did not like may have only pushed him in a bad direction. It's also important to mention that even though Cameron has disorders like autism and ADHD,
I understand you were adopted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And how was that? How did that go with your parents?
It went well.
It went well, yeah, good, okay. Now, who's the closest person to you, would you say?
My dad.
Your dad, yeah, okay. All right.
it's incredibly ironic that he says he was close to his father, given the brutality of the crimes that he inflicted on him. A natural response when it comes to talking about the person closest to you in the context of being murdered would evoke the most complex emotions. Cameron himself is the person who killed his father, and yet he sits in a composed position with little to no emotions of grief or guilt. This can only imply a few things. Either he is entirely dissociated due to a lack of emotions, or he's unable to process the severity of his crime. The latter seems unlikely, as at the time of the interview, 8 days had already passed since his crimes, and he had tried to escape before turning himself in.
So what's been going on in your life then? How have things been going for you? Like,
In what way?
in what way? Like, were you happy with the way things were going, or?
I don't know if I was happy with how I was going with school, because I was doing a program that I didn't like.
Right, yeah, I understand.
And also I wasn't really being able to get a job because my parents would insist that I would have to work for them.
For them?
Yeah.
And what do you mean by that?
Like around the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and how'd that make you feel?
Not good.
Not good, yeah. So they didn't want you to go get a job outside the house? So they just wanted you working at the house?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I wouldn't actually get money because they would just say that they'd owe me money. So I actually didn't have any money.
Oh, that must have been hard.
Yes.
So how did you manage then? Like, if you wanted to go out or if you wanted to do something?
If I would want to use money, they would have to approve of it.
Okay. It seems like you were dealing with a lot of stuff in your life, right? Like you seem to have had a lot of pressure going on at school. There was a lot of pressure going around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that what happened is really weighing on you, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you're agreeing with that. I've been working in the homicide unit since 2009, and I've never seen anybody that's reported it to the police the way you did, okay? And that tells me that you're somebody with a conscience and realized what you had done and decided that you needed to do the right thing, all right?
The control that Dave and Merrill had over Cameron's life, especially financial independence, is said to be another reason that led to the events of the investigation. But the family of Merrill has come forward, saying that they did that to protect Cameron, as he was not entirely capable of handling such responsibilities. However, there's no conclusive evidence for this, and it remains a theory at this point. And for this reason, the detective tries even harder to gather more information on the motive. Her style is entirely inclined towards speaking to him in a soft register, as if speaking to a child, so he shares more information.
What happened before is happened, right? You can't do anything more about it. But what you do have control over is today and tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. And when you talk about how the closest person to you is your father, that tells me that there's a reason why this happened, okay? And we want to understand why that happened. Okay, like what set you off? I know there was a lot of pressure going on, like there was the schooling, having to do work at home, not being able to get any money. Something triggered you to go off. And that's what we're trying to understand. There's it seems like something that's not you, because you've never had any dealings with the police. So it doesn't happen very often that you have someone like you that's not had any dealings with the police, and boom, here you are with the murder of your parents. Okay, we know that you called 911, mm-hmm. and you reported it yourself. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that says a lot about you as a person, that you know what to do. You made a mistake, and you're saying, okay, well now I need to do something about it. So you've basically taken control of that situation. But it's what caused you to get there. Whose fault? Like, is it your parents that were pushing you and you're shaking no?
Well, I'm not saying it's not my parents' fault, but I'm not saying it's not my fault. I mean, I shouldn't have done it, which is obvious. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to place the blame, so I can't really say that my parents were putting pressure, but they were. But that's no account for doing the deed.
Mm-hmm. But when we're under pressure, I've been under pressure, we've all been under pressure. And sometimes when we're under pressure, it's not us that's reacting. It's the pressure that's reacting, right? I've done things when I'm under pressure that I'm thinking, what the heck was I thinking? It's out of character. And I'm getting the feeling, what I'm hearing from you is that you were under a lot of pressure, and that's how you chose to deal with it. Mm-hmm. and I respect what you're saying, is that ultimately you're the one that did the deed, but there's something that caused you to want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's something that caused you to feel that that's the solution that you needed to do to deal with the pressure.
The interrogator is applying the techniques of motivational interviewing. She uses words of motivation regarding his behavior. This allows him to feel that he still has the moral high ground and is present in an environment where he will not be judged. For instance, she empathizes with him, and instead of pointing out the negatives of the crime, she talks about how tough the situation must have been for Cameron. To this point, the motive that Cameron shared has been his financial dependence on his parents. This is not enough for the detective, and as an advancement to her tactic, she tries to talk to Cameron in almost a baby voice, encouraging him to share more by making him more comfortable. Then she continues to talk about a similar situation in her life, so he thinks that they're coming from the same place. This will allow him to open up more in the interrogation.
Your parents putting pressure on you with school and not wanting you to work and wanting you to work around the house. What else were they doing that was adding to this stress?
I don't know. I mean, other than no money and having to go into a program for 3 years that I didn't want to go into, I don't know, like, what else there would be. Like, I can't think of anything.
What else was missing, do you find, in your life that you could attribute to your...
Well, I might have felt, or I might have thought at the time that I was lonely, but then after I killed them, I didn't really feel lonely. Well, I felt more lonely because, anyway, that's irrelevant, but I mean, realized that it was the wrong choice, but anyway.
Yeah. What did you feel you would accomplish by killing them?
Nothing.
Nothing, eh? Okay.
Throughout the interrogation and the investigation, this is the only motive that Cameron has presented. It's possible that due to the lag in his communication skills, he was never able to communicate his frustration to his parents until he did the unthinkable. Even after saying his actions were wrong, he shows no emotions or actual remorse for the same. He only expresses how he felt lonely because of what he did. His body language also suggests no discomfort or anxiety surrounding his crimes.
And what caused you to just do this?
I don't know, it was like it was, I guess, the spur of the moment, like it was just, I don't know what made me do it. It was just like I don't even know why I did it. Even that I think back to it now, I don't even know why I chose to do it.
Okay. How did you do it?
It was involving one or two knives and a stick.
And a stick, okay. And where did you kill them?
In our kitchen.
In your kitchen? Okay. All right. And what was going on right before you killed them?
I was chopping melon.
Sorry?
I was chopping melon.
Melon?
Yeah.
Okay. And where were your parents in relation to you at that point?
My mom was doing something else in the kitchen.
Okay.
And my dad was somewhere else in the house.
Okay. And then what happened?
Do I have to talk about this? I don't want to talk about this.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about something else for a while, okay? I know that's upsetting you. Why don't we talk about how did they get to the outside?
I put them there.
You put them there, okay. And when did you put them there?
After they died.
Okay.
I didn't want, like, I didn't want, like, my mom's brothers or any friends to come and see them like that.
Okay. Well, that was good of you. Clearly, you were concerned for them, for the family members not seeing them, eh? Okay. And how did you get them out to the back?
I had to, I dragged my mom in a tarp.
Okay.
And then I put my dad in a suitcase,
Okay.
and then pulled him out.
Okay. And how did you get him in a suitcase?
Well, I sort of rolled him into it.
Okay. All right. Did you have to do anything to get him into the suitcase? Or?
Well, it wasn't like a perfect fit. Like, I didn't like make him like fit.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like.
Okay. All right. And how long did you remain in the house after the?
A week.
A week? Okay. And where were they for that 1 week?
Well, for a day they were wherever they got killed,
Okay.
and then after that was spent taking them out to the backyard, and then cleaning up a little bit,
Okay.
so it wasn't, blood all over the place.
Here is a man talking about murdering his parents, and there is no sight of emotion on his face. His tone is entirely flat, though this is common in people who are on the autism spectrum. In stressful moments, they can show hyperactivity, but this is also absent in Cameron. Here you can see that Cameron begins to stutter when he's confronted by a direct question about killing his parents. The interrogator here reinforces him positively, encouraging him to cooperate by pointing out the better side of his behavior. She says that he concealed the bodies of Dave and Merrill so that it didn't discomfort the other family members who may have seen it. As soon as Cameron realizes that he's not being seen in a bad light for his actions, he continues to cooperate.
When you said clean up, what room had to be cleaned up?
The kitchen.
The kitchen. Okay, is that the only room that
Yeah.
had to be cleaned up? Okay.
Yeah.
And where's the knife?
I put the knife, the two. I think it was two. I think it was two knives. In a plastic bag with the stick that had broken. So I put those in the plastic bag, and I put it in the black box, which is in the garage.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you do then for that whole week then in the house?
I just stayed in my room
Okay.
because I was mostly going to run away
Mm-hmm.
from Ottawa.
Okay.
I was hoping to go to the US, but since that didn't work out, I got stuck in Montreal,
Okay. Gotcha.
and then that's when I called.
Okay. And how come you weren't able to get into the U.S.?
Well, you need some kind of like not like a ticket, but like
A passport or?
well, no, that wasn't the problem. It's like because like to go there, to stay there, you need some kind of visa,
I see.
and I didn't have that, so I'd have to lie, and that just wouldn't work.
Right. Okay.
Cameron first attacked Merrill with a wooden sword that he had made. He attacked her with so much force that the wooden sword broke. This alerted Dave, and he came running to save his wife. Cameron then proceeded to stab Dave in the back, which punctured his lungs. This proved to be fatal, and Dave died shortly after.
All right. Now I understand there was supposed to be some birthday party or there was some dinner that they were supposed to go to.
Yeah,
Okay. Now when was that?
Sunday.
The Sunday. Okay. And did somebody call you to find out where they were?
Yes.
Okay. Who called?
Two of her brothers,
Which ones?
Gord and Graham, I think.
Okay. All right. And what did you?
I was scared, so I said that they had the flu.
Okay. All right. Okay. Did anybody come over in the those 8 days or a week or so?
Well, we have friends from church, and they came over on the next Sunday, and I said the same thing. That
Okay.
like they had the flu.
Okay. They were at the house?
Yeah, they came over to the house.
Okay, all right. So where did they ask you where your parents were?
I said that they had the flu.
Okay, but where were they with the flu? I mean, I know where they were, but what did you tell them?
I told them that they were, sleeping in their room, like with the flu. I didn't really give that. All I said was that they had the flu and that they were resting, and that's...
Okay.
After the murders took place, Cameron received a call from Merrill's brother for confirmation of a dinner party. On a separate occasion, friends from church also came by the house to check on the family. To this end, he said that Dave and Merrill have the flu, so they couldn't join. In another instance, friends from church visited their house, but Cameron gave the same excuse to them. The statements of these two parties helped prove that Cameron was, in fact, present at the home after the murders took place.
All right. So we're just going to try to figure, how did you get to Montreal?
I took the train.
Oh, you took the train. Okay. And then how did you get from your house to, which train station did you go to?
In Ottawa?
Yeah, but there's two in Ottawa. There's one on Fallowfield and there's one on Tremblay Road. Tremblay Road. Okay. And how did you get there?
I drove.
You drove whose vehicle?
My mom's.
Your mom's? Which vehicle is that?
It's the van.
The van, okay. And why didn't you just drive to Montreal?
Well, I have to pay for gas.
Okay.
And I mean, I didn't know I probably could have, but I mean, if I had to pay for more gas, I wouldn't really be able to pay for more gas.
Right, okay. So you then took the train to Montreal?
Yeah.
And when did you arrive in Montreal?
At 8:30 on Monday.
8:30 in the morning or in the evening?
In the morning.
In the morning, okay. Yeah. And how did you pay for your train ticket?
With some money.
Okay, and where did you get that money?
From their purse.
From their purse, okay. All right, go ahead.
Or wallet.
Or wallet?
Yeah.
Okay. From your mom or from your dad's wallet?
I think it was from both.
From both? How much money were you able to get from their wallet?
140.
140, okay. So you took the train to Montreal, and then what did you do once you arrived in Montreal?
I bought a ticket to the U.S.
Okay.
But it didn't work.
Right. Because you couldn't...
Yeah, there was no visa.
Okay, right. Okay. And what was your plan in going to New York?
Somehow survive.
Pardon?
Somehow survive. Like, I didn't really have like a plan.
You didn't have a plan, eh?
No, it was just to get as far away from Ottawa as I could.
Okay, all right. And then when you got turned around, you couldn't come in, you couldn't go into the States, and how do you end up downtown Montreal?
Well, I had to get back from the border because I took the train, but I didn't get past the border.
Okay.
So I had to take a bus back from the border.
Mm-hmm.
And the bus dropped me off, I guess, at the bus station. I don't know exactly where it was, but and then from there I walked to this street that was anywhere where I called.
Right.
Was like a block from where I put my bags, and that was nearby where the bus station was.
Okay. All right.
On November 28, 2016, Cameron fled home from Ottawa to Montreal with $140 that he stole from his mother's car. From there, he planned on entering the United States, but he failed after he was questioned by a suspicious border guard about his true intentions of leaving Canada. He took shelter in a nearby under-construction building and built himself a makeshift bed and shelter. But he soon realized that he couldn't survive the cold. On November 28th, he himself dialed 911 and confessed to killing his parents.
And what made you decide to call the police, to call 911?
It was, well, I mean, I didn't really have anything else to do, and I mean, I may as well, since it's, I mean, I was feeling down.
For sure.
You know, and I was tired, which made me feel more down.
Right, yeah.
And I called.
Right. And how did you feel after you made the call?
Well, I was crying for a long time.
For sure, yeah.
And then I felt better, but I mean, I still don't know if it's fixed because, you know, like, I mean, we're discussing. I feel like we're still trying to figure out if I did it or not, and I don't understand. Like I thought confessing would mean that I would be, you know, like that would be it.
It was made clear in the trials that the reason for the 911 call was never guilt, but rather that he had nothing else left to do. This is a high point in the interrogation, and any other person would have shown obvious signs of anxiety by now. Usually it's seen that a person will fidget in their seats, look visibly uncomfortable, stutter in their speech, or sweat. Cameron, on the other hand, has no signs of relevant or irrelevant emotions here.
Stuff like this, I think everybody has to make their decision, what's right for them, and clearly you felt this was the right decision for you. But I always use the analogy of a snowball effect, right? You start this nice snowball at the top of a mountain, and it comes spiraling down the hill, and it's picking up debris, and at the end, by the time it gets down there, it's not the same thing anymore, right? So this is something that wouldn't have gone away. Eventually you would have had to dealt with it. Now I'm noticing a cut on your
well, that was trying to where
left hand.
Where I put my stuff, I was trying to get in because it was like a rundown place and I had to get in, so it got cut.
Oh, okay. Did you sustain any injuries as a result of what happened to your parents? Yeah. Okay. What? So I know you're cutting melons, and that was about at 11 o'clock on the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
What caused you to do that? Like, it was something said or done or?
No, it was literally just a spur of the moment. I don't even know. Like, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, took me 50 minutes of going back and forth about to do it and then not to do it.
Okay, all right. What was causing you to want to do it? Why is it you're thinking you wanted to do it?
I don't remember.
Okay, all right. And what were the plans that day?
The plans was to do some studying and then go to the restaurant for the party.
For the party, okay.
Cameron had been contemplating his decision whether to kill his parents or not for 50 minutes before the incident. But he said that everything took place in a spur of the moment.
All right. And your mom, you said she was in the kitchen? Okay. And where was your dad?
He was somewhere else, I don't know exactly.
Okay. Can you just explain to me how your dad, did it both happen in the kitchen? Okay. How does your dad end up in the kitchen?
Well, when I did my mom, he came running, and then I did him.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And how long did it take?
What do you mean?
Like, before your mom, like, how long did you...
Well, my dad didn't take very long, but my mom took a long time.
Okay.
And it was really hard because she was in pain, and I wanted it to stop, and I couldn't make it stop. And I felt so bad because she was in pain, and I wanted her not to be in pain, but I couldn't stop it. And it went for the whole night.
And what?
It took the whole night for her to die.
And how do you know that it took the whole night?
I don't know exactly, but I mean, I went to my room, and she was still in pain. I could hear, but then in the morning, it was done.
Okay. And can I ask a question? Why is it then, after, when you realized she was in pain, why didn't you call 911?
Well, I knew it was too late.
And what do you mean by it was too late?
The wounds were too bad.
Okay. Okay. And so what about your dad? How soon after did you kill your dad?
What do you mean how soon after?
Well, after your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came running, and then
He came running.
that's when it happened.
Okay, what did he say when he came in?
Well, he was scared for her.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was quicker
Okay.
with him.
Okay. Now, you talked about a stick.
Yeah,
Who did you use the stick on?
I think it was both.
On both? And what part of the bodies did you hit them with?
I think
Sorry,
it was
what-
the head.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
stick broke.
The stick broke on who?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. All right. And there were 2 knives involved?
Yeah, I think
And,
so.
okay, where did you get the knives?
The kitchen.
In the kitchen? Okay.
The only time Cameron seems to express himself is when he talks about his mother taking all night to die. But this becomes less believable as his expressions almost immediately change within a few seconds. He stopped crying the moment the next question was asked, and the signs that he was having a breakdown almost instantly disappeared.
I am going to just leave the room. I'm just going to go and check with my partner to see if I've forgotten anything. Is there anything else that you want to tell me?
I don't know.
The interrogator has been so successful in making the environment safe for Cameron that he becomes uncomfortable when she tries to leave the room. This reaction also elicits the motor behaviors that are common in people with autism, like covering themselves protectively with a comforting object. It shows anxiety over a change in the environment. This kind of reaction should have been present throughout the interview, given the circumstances that Cameron was in. But he manages to stay somewhat composed.
And what was your mom doing?
She was like doing something, some kind of herb thing. I don't know what it was. It was just she was grinding herbs or something.
Okay. And how was that morning? This was around 11 o'clock. So what was going on that morning in the house?
I don't know. I mean, like, what was...
Did you have an argument with your parents, or...?
Well, I mean, the whole upstanding, or not upstanding, the whole, like, disagreement about school and work and all that was just hanging over me, and I mean, I guess, like, I mean, we've had arguments before,
Okay.
and heated, yelling ones, and I guess just at that time when the cloud broke, I was chopping a melon.
Okay. And what were you arguing about that day? Like while you were chopping the melon?
I don't know if I was arguing. At that time, I was not arguing.
Okay. All right.
No.
Okay.
But maybe like a day or two before, we had been arguing
Okay. And what?
about those issues.
Okay. And anything in particular? So you're talking about school, about
The work
Work?
issue.
and what was your mom like when she argued with you about it?
Well, I didn't have a say.
Cameron's body language in no way matches the intensity of the crimes he is confessing to. Earlier, he had started crying when he was speaking about how long his mother took to die. And here, he can be seen yawning. It should also be pointed out that here he says he knows they were not fighting before the crimes, while earlier he had said that he did not remember. This indicates that he may be intentionally withholding information or lying about not remembering. Doing so would allow him to plead guilty to second-degree murder instead of first-degree, which has significantly reduced sentence time.
And where did you stab her on her?
In the back.
In the back. Okay. And how many times?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Okay. And what? How did she react when she was stabbed the first time?
Actually, wait. I didn't stab her first. I used a stick first.
You used the stick. Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you get the stick?
I made it.
Oh, okay. When did you make it?
A while back.
Okay. And when you say made it, how do you make a
I
stick?
carved it
Oh, cool. Okay. And for what purpose?
just to do. I had a lot of time on my hands in the summer.
Okay, and what were you going to use that stick for?
I don't know. There was no plan when I made it.
Okay. Okay. And where were you keeping that stick?
In the garage.
In the garage, okay. So how does it end up being in the kitchen that day?
I don't know. I was planning. During those 15 minutes of going back and forth, one of those times I thought of using the stick.
Okay, on
my mom.
Okay, to do what?
I don't know.
Okay.
Overall, the way Cameron speaks about the events, it does look like he did this because of the excessive control he felt from his parents. He also mentions how he had no say when he got into a fight with his parents. His already lagging communication, with fewer opportunities to present his inner feelings and thoughts, never allowed some conflicts to be resolved, and the results were extreme violence.
What were you thinking when you were doing this to them?
No, like when I was moving them.
No, when you were actually stabbing them and hitting them.
I don't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I don't think I was thinking anything. Maybe it was just adrenaline or something.
Okay.
Or just
But were you feeling angry? Were you feeling...
I don't think I was feeling angry. Maybe, no, actually, I don't think I was feeling actually any anger.
Yeah. Okay.
Which sounds actually really bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and I think that's what I was saying, that it took me 15 minutes of going back and forth of thinking to do it and then not thinking I shouldn't do it, and then I finally did it, but it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't out of anger, I don't think.
So what was the purpose then?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was I think it's not that I wasn't doing it for anger, but at the moment when I did it, I wasn't feeling really angry.
Okay.
Maybe it was just the fact that it took me maybe at the beginning I was angry, but then doing the 50 minutes of about to do it and then not doing it, and then when I say not doing it, I mean chickening out.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. No, I understand that. Yeah.
Cameron easily confessed to the murder of his parents. When he went to trial, he tried to plead guilty to a lesser charge of manslaughter instead of murders. But that appeal was rejected. We should also take a moment here to appreciate the techniques of the investigator. Cameron fully cooperated because of the atmosphere she had created during the questioning. The family of Dave and Merrill Rogers had seen the worst of nightmares, but the small consolation was that at least Cameron was behind bars. Cameron also tried to charge his father Dave with assault in the first trial. This is believed to be a tactical move to get a reduced sentence. However, he withdrew this allegation in the second trial. The call made by Merrill's brother and the visit by the church folks proved to be vital in proving that Cameron was in fact present in the house at the time and after the murders took place. He was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and was sentenced to 20 years in prison without parole in December 2018. The family of Dave and Merrill Rogers fears for the day when Cameron may be released.
I fear for the day he is released. I do. A lot of our extended family does. There were victim impact statements from family on the West Coast, family in the southern US. They're all very scared for us because realistically, one day he will be released.